I'm very happy today to be with my farmers in the lake. We are in Lake Victoria, Anyanga Beach. We are enjoying the breeze as we want to learn of fish feeds and feeding of fish. Now, these are farmers that we've been with. This is Naftalia, and we have here Madam Lynn. We've been having several sessions with them on aquaculture, and we've discussed before in our previous sessions. We've discussed cage fabrications, we've discussed installation of cages, and we actually last week discussed stocking of fish. Now today we want to talk about fish feeding, fish feeds and feeding of fish. Now the main objective of this session is that by the end of this session, the farmers, that is Naftalia and Madam Lynn, should be able at the end of the session to describe 3 methods of fish feeding. To begin with, can somebody tells me what is feed? Even even Ben here is over there behind the camera. Ben, can you tell us the meaning of fish feed?
Okay, the fish feed.
Yes.
With my knowledge, I just know that there are feeds used to feed the fish for them to grow.
Exactly. I'm very happy. I'm a trainer at Ramogi Training Institute, Adiange Evans by name, and as you can see, the farmers whom have been training, at least they have a glimpse of some of these issues that we are discussing. So as Ben has just hinted, fish feeds are just nutritional feeds or food that are normally given to fish so that they can grow to the standard that is required. Now, why should we feed our fish? Why should we feed the fish? Can Madam Lynn tell us, why should we feed the fish?
We feed the fish for better production.
We feed the fish for better production so that the fish can grow to market size as fast as possible. Basically, that is the basis of feeding, the main idea behind feeding of the fish. Now, we have several types of feeds that you can use to feed your fish. Now, as you can see, we normally have pellets. Then you can just use natural feeds, whereby you simply fertilize your pond, which then the natural food will grow and the fish will be eating. Then we also have formulated feeds, that is commercial diets, which are pelleted and powdered in nature. These are feeds that are commercial in nature and normally given to fish, and they have normally better performance as compared to other types like supplementary feeds. Now, I can see my farmers here also have some feed that they have been using. And as you can see, let me ask you, which type of feed is this you've been using?
Ochonga.
Ochonga. That sounds funny. Okay, it's okay. That is the local name for this one. So actually, Ochonga is a freshwater shrimp, as you can see. This is what my farmers normally use here. And the freshwater shrimp is Caradina niloticus. And in addition, I can see another type of feed. Which one is this one, Ben?
Wheat brand.
This is feed brand?
Yes.
So you normally use this and this. Why are you not using commercial feed, the pellets?
They are very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah,
so as you can see, my farmers have this supplementary feed, the one that they use. It means the type of culture that they do. This type of culture is semi-intensive because you supply supplementary feeds to the fish. And what we have before us, as you can see, this is the cage. And I want to demonstrate to the farmers, how many times do you feed your fish?
Mostly once a day.
Mostly once a day?
Yes.
So I want to tell you today that if you want your fish to grow well, then at least feed your fish 3 times a day, because there's something known as FCR, that is food conversion ratio. If you want to improve the food conversion, I can see you have several cages. All these are cages, and you have fish in these ones. If you want to improve the growth of this fish, the performance of this fish, then try feeding the fish as more frequent as possible. That is at least 3 times a day or 2 times a day, rather than just feeding once a day. And when you are feeding your fish, we have several methods of feeding the fish. The first method of feeding feeding fish, do you know? The first method? Hand feeding.
Hand feeding.
So hand feeding is what you normally do here. I've seen some of you also doing it, whereby you simply take the feeds and you throw to the fish. So this is hand feeding. Can you come here and see? So in hand feeding, you simply take the feeds. This is Caradina niloticus, and you give to your fish. So we have the fish in the cage, as you can see, they are eating. So you simply supply the feeds using your hands and you allow the fish to consume the feeds. That is hand feeding. Then we have automated feeding. Automated feeding is whereby we have a mechanized system whereby the feeds are supplied to the fish at an interval programmed in a programmed manner. Then we have demand feeders whereby the feeds are normally supplied to fish when it is in demand. The fish are trained to trigger the system to supply them with feeds whenever they need the feeds. So those are some of the 3 type methods of feeding that you should know or you can use in this system of yours. However, you say that you are feeding your fish 3 times a day, and there's something that I want to talk about here. When you feed your fish 3 times, when you feed your fish once a day, you may not achieve the weight that you need to achieve as fast as possible. The key thing that you need to know as a farmer, there's a type of feeding known as feeding to satiation. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Feeding to satiation is not something complex. Simply come and relax. Sit down here and then give your fish feeds what they can eat fully. Drop your feeds bit by bit. Allow the fish to eat. When the feeds are over, supply more until it reaches a time when the fish cannot consume anymore. Then you say that now your fish are satisfied. So that is feeding to satiation. When you feed fish to satiation, you will get a better growth performance. You will get a better FCR, food conversion ratio, and your fish will reach market faster than one who feeds maybe once a day and one who uses a method known as by weight, whereby you give maybe 3% of the body weight. Otherwise, what you've been doing, I'm very happy with the system. I can see the fish are growing very. How many old are they?
They are 6 months.
They are now 6 months.
Yes.
So as you can see, the fish are 6 months, and we did some sampling some few minutes ago before we started feeding, and the fish were weighing around 400 gram sizes. Some were 500 gram sizes. So the growth is not bad. However, I've realized there's disparity in growth rate. Some are so big, some are so small.
Yes.
The reason why you have that disparity is because you don't give them consistent feeding. So you need to know the standard of feeding so that you have the system, the level that is required, so that all the fish can eat, all the fish in the system can have enough feed so that they can grow at the same rate. Otherwise, is there anybody with a question, because the session has just come to an end?
Okay, now that kwa vile umesema tunakuja na boat, tunakaa tunapea samaki chakula mpaka washibe.
Yeah.
Sio sasa tutakuwa tunatumia chakula mingi?
Hapana, utakuwa unatumia chakula mingi kwa sababu kile chakula ambacho unafaa upatie wa samaki, hicho chakula ndio unakuja nao nacho unaweka hapa, alafu unapeana pole pole. Sisemi sasa uongeze vyakula vingine. Hicho kiwango tu chenye samaki anaweza kula na atosheki nazo, hicho ndio unafaa upeane.
Na pia si tutakuwa tunapoteza wakati mingi hapa, tukikuja tukae wakule wamalize juu sisi tumezoea, tunakuja tunawekea, tukimaliza tunatoka, tunawaacha wakikula. Tena ikifika hiyo saa ingine ya kukuja kuwapea chakula tena ndio tunarudi.
Unajua ukitupa tu chakula alafu utoke, uweze jua samaki gani amekula na gani hajakula. Saa zingine unaweza pata labda hawajakula wote, ama labda chakula yenye umepeana ni kidogo. Sasa chenye unafaa ufanye, ukuje ukae hapa, samaki wakule, uhakikishe kuwa samaki wote wamekula. Tena wakati unaangalia samaki wanapokula, unaweza jua kama samaki wako na shida. Kama wako na ugonjwa unaweza ona. Lakini ukipeana tu chakula na utoke, uwezi jua ni samaki gani ako na shida gani. Sasa as a farmer, we normally encourage. What Ben is basically saying is that they normally come and just throw the feeds and go away, which I'm really discouraging, because you need to observe your fish as they feed, because you are able to see the change in the behavior. You are able to monitor your fish as they feed, and you are able to tell that the fish are behaving normally. So normally what I'm encouraging here, don't just come and throw the feeds. Just take your time, relax, feed your fish, let them feed to satiation, then you can just go home, because this is an investment. In this cage alone, we have 2,000 fish. See, that is what you've told me.
Yes.
2,000 fish, if you sell them at 200 shilling the way you've been selling them as you've hinted me, then means you are expecting 400,000 in this cage alone. How many cages do you have? This is multi-million project. So where you have such a project, you need to take your time, and then you will get a better yield than if you just throw the feed and you just go away. Is there any other question? That is Ben Ayoma. The key person is the chairperson in this partnership. They have been growing fish for the last 3 good years, and they are doing well, as you can see. Yes. Is there any other question? Do you think our objective has been achieved? We had 3 objectives. One, the objective that we had is by the end of the lesson, you should have known the 3 methods of feeding. So do you think you've known the 3 methods of feeding?
Yes.
Will you be applying them?
Yes.
That's very good. I'm very happy.
We will be trying.
You will be trying. Don't try. Use them because you need to get a better performance.
But for the automatic or automated feeding,
feeder.
I think for us to afford that machine, it will force us to have a bigger capital for buying the machine.
Yeah.
And yet at this juncture, still we can't afford it.
Oh, it is not very expensive, but again, it is not a must that you have to acquire it.
Yeah.
So don't stress yourself. If you can't afford automatic feed, I was just telling you some of the methods that you can use once you reach the commercialization stage, of which I can say you are heading towards that. So once your production has gotten to commercialization, then the system need to mechanize it in a way that at that particular time you can now introduce such like things. But for now, because you still the farm is not so big, just use the hand feeding. It does well, and it will give you opportunity to monitor your fish.
Okay, and another question.
Yes.
You have talked of pellet or pallet.
Yeah, pellets, yes.
Will it not be expensive, or will we not run at a loss when we depend on pallets alone?
You see, pallets are not expensive. It is the perspective that you take. You see, when you use pallet, the advantage of using is that the fish will reach the market size as soon as possible. And you will realize that the quantity of pallet that you will be supplying per day will not be as many as what you are supplying when you're using freshwater shrimp. So this thing is not expensive. Don't fear them. Try and see that you have several cages. We can have something like experimental design here, whereby we have a cage, we will be doing it together. This cage we will be feeding with pellets. This cage will be using this local feed, so that we do a comparison together. We work it together so that you get that answer by yourself. I think that will work better.
Okay, but I used to add that out in the market here,
yes,
there are some those who are selling low quality feeds.
Yeah.
Even for those pallets, I've even seen several types of pallets. So yeah. I don't know the appropriate that we can use.
What is important, I'm going to give you a chart. I'm going to give you a prescription. What you need to know, the ingredient that the fish require for it to grow well. So the pellets should have the right ingredients. For example, for the fish to grow, it must have enough protein for it to grow to the level that it requires. So, for example, when the fish is big enough, it needs around 35% crude protein. When they are still at fingerling stage, they need around 40% of crude protein. So what I'll do to you, in fact, we discussed that one yesterday when you were not there, but I'll share with you the notes. What you need to know is the ingredients in that feed. And again, you need to buy feed from authorized or certified suppliers, so that you are not deceived, because some suppliers will give you feed telling you that they are 40% crude protein, yet it's not. So you need to buy food from certified suppliers, and you need to know that your source is a good source. That is the key thing that you need to know. Otherwise, is there any question from my fellow behind here? And are you satisfied that now the objective has been achieved?
Yes.
I'm also very grateful. As I said, I'm Adiang Evans from Ramogi Training Institute. These are just an epitome of some of the things that we do on the ground. We normally reach out for the farmers and we talk, we share some of the knowledge with them, what we discuss together. We do some experimental design with them, we discuss. So I'm very happy our today's session has come to an end. We were discussing fish feeds and feeding of fish. In our next lesson, we will be discussing fish harvesting. Otherwise, do have a good day, and I've enjoyed being with you. Thank you very much all.
Thank you too.
Welcome.
Jengo hiyo kitu na